You got these forceps, great for pulling out hair ties and things like that out of a Jabsco Quiet Flush toilet.
I have never flushed a hair tie.
I'm Holly. That's Ray. And this is our home, Sabado. Subscribe to tag along on the adventure.
So I have been asked to do a dive into the tools that I use on Sabado and on other boats that I help. I've got multiple tool bags. I've got one that's specific for more heavy mechanical. I've got an electrical bag, a rigging bag, and then I've got this one, which is what I use for probably 99% of the work that I do on Sabado. And then if I go help somebody else on their boat, I just grab this. The first thing is this bag. It's a Vito Pro Pack. And it's just been a fantastic bag. It's got this plastic bottom so things don't get wet. And it's just, it's really tough. It's a tough bag. One of the downsides is that it can hold so much stuff that it can get heavy if you're not careful. So you'll see that there's a number of spaces in here that I don't use because of that. So I'll start on the outside. You've got a flashlight. This was just a cheap one that was given to us, I think at like a Miami boat show or something. I think I'd rather have one that had like a magnet on it or something, but I just haven't got around to it. Then we've got some electrical tape. We've got some plumbing tape. I've got another roll of the plumbing tape that's specific for diesel and gasoline stuff. And then over on this side, this tape measure, which is a really cool tape measure. So it's got inches on one side and it's got centimeters on the other side, and the blade is made out of some type of a fabric of some sort so it doesn't rust. And then just a knife. This is a razor knife that has a blade that needs to be changed, but this is something that comes in really handy as well. And then the bag has two sides. So this side, we'll just go in here first. So in here I've got some gloves. I've got a caliper. I think this is just a cheap caliper that I got off of Amazon. The one thing that I'll say about this is a digital one. It's accurate for sure, but one of the things that I'd recommend is, if you do get a digital one, make sure you get one that also has the measurements on the blade itself, because these take those button batteries and it's guaranteed to be dead when you need it the most. In fact, it was turned on when I opened it up. So, and then I've got an infrared temperature gun. This gets used all the time for refrigeration or checking engine temperatures, Holly's ass, things like that. And then this is it's a multimeter, but I only use it for the amp clamp. Again, it's not a very high quality one, but it does the job. It goes through batteries like crazy though. And then I've got the multimeter. This one's a Fluke, and this is the one that everyone will tell you, Fluke is the brand that you need to get. Unless you're doing, very precise measurements, I'm not sure that you necessarily need to spend the money on a Fluke. If you buy a cheap one, you won't drop it overboard. If you buy an expensive one, you'll drop it overboard. And then the other things that are in here are just, I guess I have a saw that I've used one time. And the nice thing about this is that it uses just your standard Sawzall blades that you can get anywhere. And then the rest of the stuff is just the leads, the alligator clips, and things like that for the multimeter. All right, and on this side, pretty darn loaded up. I'll start with screwdrivers. And you're going to see that there's a couple of brands that I really like. One is Vera. I think they make fantastic quality products. The other is Knipex. They make pliers mainly, and I really like that stuff. But this is a ratchet screwdriver from Vera. I've got a few ratchet screwdrivers. This is the one that lives in this bag, and it comes with interchangeable bits, which most of the ones that it came with I've removed, and I've added the ones that I use the most on Sabado. This is a stubby, and this is a really cool one. This one's not a ratcheting one, but it has all of the bits up in there like that. And then the other cool thing about this is it extends. So hold this down, and then it goes bloop, 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 and it gets big. And again, interchangeable bits. This is made by Klein Tools, and this is a driver bit, and it's got on both sides the two normal, I guess, standard size for our hose clamps. So this is something that I can just grab for that. And I don't do a lot of high voltage work, but I do have a set of screwdrivers that are insulated for doing that work. These do get used for other things besides electrical. I try not to because I don't want to damage them, but they are a good set. And then here's another Vera. This is actually out of another set that my in-laws gave me as a gift. And this is just the driver that I pulled out of there, and it's got interchangeable bits. And I've got all the bits down here for that. I'll pull those out. So these were in a bigger tool set, and I pulled them out to include it in here, and then I just pulled out the bits that get used the most on Sabado. And like I showed, it's interchangeable in this one by doing this. But the other cool thing is all of these are also compatible with the other products that they have. And then I've got a set of these small drivers. Again, this is just a handful out of a larger set that I have, just the most common ones that I use. And these come in so handy with electrical work, the smaller stuff that you tend to do a lot of on boats. All right, so we'll just move right along here. I've got this little hammer. It's small, but it's handy. The way I look at it, if I find myself in a situation where I'm like, damn, I need a bigger hammer, then I just take a break, reassess the situation, and see if there's a better way to do it. All right. I've got some 3/8 inch drive sockets and tools. These are some cheapies. Most things on a boat last for a few years and then they rust to pieces. Interestingly enough, I bought these at a marine store in St. Lucia in 2019, and they're not rusty. So I've got that set. But then I also have the Vera set. These are 1/4 inch drives. Just a fantastic set, and this is their Cyclops. So this ratchet spins around like this, so you can get to things this way. This is a really nice ratchet. And the other cool thing about this is, probably can't hear it, but the clicks are so close together, so it's just a very fine instrument. Love it. Same with these socket holders. These are also by Vera, and they're twist locks. So you stick it on there and twist it, and they don't come off. Love that. And this is the extension for it. These are some Vera Allen wrenches, and these ones have the ball ends on it, which are really important for if you need to get in someplace so you just don't have like direct access going straight in. If you can only get up like this, these ball ends help you grip it still and are fantastic. All right, this little set, this is one of those things that I like to just keep in my backpack, and I gotta tell you, most of the time, if I have some small thing that I need to work on really quickly, I can just grab this. This has all the bits up there. This has 5.5 to 13 millimeter sockets. This has the handle for the bits. You can also use it as a driver. So that's super cool. Even more cool, you have an extension. So I love this tool. It has this little tiny ratchet, which is also good. This set, although expensive, is a great one to have. What is it? It's called a Tool Check Plus. It's by Vera. It's awesome. Okay, and then in here I've got a bunch of wrenches. And I'm going to say a handful of these are 10 millimeter wrenches because I use this one for some electrical work. That's why it's like that. I've got a gob of 10 millimeters because I don't know why I lose them all the time. I think that at some point someone's going to be somewhere in the deep recesses of the bilges on this boat, and they're going to find 110 millimeter wrenches and sockets and various 10 millimeter tools. So I got a bunch of these, and again, these are just the most common ones that I use. And in addition to the the standard open end and box end wrenches, I also have a set of these, and these are made by Gear Wrench. These are cool because they're ratchet, so you can move it to either side. But even better, on one side, like this one's an 18 millimeter. You flip it around, it's a 19 millimeter. This one's a 17. Flip it around, it's a 16. These are awesome. Love them. Okay, we're kind of getting to pliers. You're gonna notice things are rusty in here, and that happens. It's not from lack of care, but it's from lack of care. So we've got these needle nose pliers. One of them is just the straight ones. The other one's bent. Pretty standard. They get used all the time. We've got some lineman pliers. And then we get into the Knip-X stuff. Now, these are cool. So these little snipper ones, I use them only for cutting the ends off of zip ties so that you don't cut yourself on badly cut zip ties. We had some people working on the boat a month or so ago, and they cut themselves a couple of times on zip ties that I had put in that I didn't use these to cut. So they actually bought me a pair of these.
Did they really?
Yes, they did. Alright, and these are really cool. So these are Knip-X. I use these instead of a crescent wrench, an adjustable wrench. So the jaws on these are smooth, so you're not going to mar anything. And then they have the the measurements right here. So for a 12 millimeter nut all the way down to 52. And these things grip like you wouldn't believe. Love these. These are for like if you don't really care so much. I don't know if this is focusing or not. If you don't really care too much about marring things, but if you really need to get in someplace to grab a nut or a bolt, it's got this. I don't know if you can tell the angle there, but that just grabs hold of a nut, a bolt, and it holds on like crazy. These are great. They get used a lot. And these are adjustable, and these grip really well. So again, they're huge. They get enormous. And then just some side cutters. I haven't used these for a while. In fact, I'm kind of thinking about not having these in there anymore, these vice grips. The way that I can tell what these are going to be used for is if I take them out of my tool bag, put them somewhere else, and then I'll be working on something and need them, and then I'll know what those are good for. Alright, up here, try to stick with pliers. We got these forceps, great for pulling out hair ties and things like that out of a Jabsco Quiet Flush toilet.
I have never flushed a hair tie.
This is a center punch, so it's spring loaded. You know, if you need to drill a hole in something, piece of metal, for example, you push down really hard and it goes bang, and it puts a little hole in, not a hole, puts an indentation in there and gives you a good place to start a drill. A little wire brush for cleaning up rusty tools and parts. A little round file. This is something that I use quite a bit. And then for those things that I drop in the bilge, a little magnet that I can, you know, pick stuff up with. What else do we have in here? The bits that I use the most often up there too. And again, this is the tool bag that I use, you know, if I just grab it and go someplace. I do have other tool bags that have a bunch of other things in them that if anyone wants to see those, I can do that as well. I think that's it. Now I got to put all this back.
Okay, if you are interested in adding any of the things that Ray mentioned to your tool collection, I will have everything linked down below. And I hope that was helpful.